It's November 22nd. Time is accelerating, and I am unable to slow it down. Do you guys have any ideas for how we can dramatically increase the mass to have a local space-time distortion? Because I would be all about that. We need to slow time way down.
Seems like that might be a little risky to play around with.
I've been told from the episode on Monday that we've got a whole new set of physics to comprehend to do with plasmoids or transdimensional intelligence or something. I don't really know.
Maybe the aliens are speeding us up on purpose to get us ready. Like they want to go home, but we're not ready to ascend, so they'll just speed it up.
It'd be funny. It's like, by the way, the Milky Way galaxies are going to be in a catastrophic situation in another 2 or 3 million years. So we're accelerating you as fast as we possibly can so that you'll be ready in 2 or 3 million years. Otherwise, you're going to be gobbled up by the black hole. Oh, it's too bad Chris is not here, because that's probably what it is.
Well, AI is not ready, for sure. We can confirm that. It's amazing, but it's not ready.
It gets more and more confused. Can AI replace translators? And the answer is kind of, but also no.
It loses the nuances. So they point out that translating a book, for example, more than just words, because authors are inevitably going to be using colloquial terms and things that don't make sense in other cultures. And by being a part of both of those cultures, you can sort of smooth that transition.
Yeah.
AI can't really do that yet. Although I got to say, for technical stuff, like there's this game I've been playing that's a Japanese developer, and he just runs his changelogs through ChatGPT. It's perfect. It's amazing. And AI-generated images are everywhere. We know that all the major news publications are switching to this. Soon, basically everything you see could be fake, and it's leading people to think that they can look like that as well, when in fact that is just not a real thing.
Yeah, generated images creating unrealistic expectations, hairdressers say. So folks ask the chat GPT, make my hair look reasonable, and they do, but then the hairdressers are like, you don't have the raw material to do this.
Now they pointed this out. Baker's apparently also getting these requests. They pointed this one out, and they said this was totally unrealistic, but I don't know, I could see it like a really talented confectioner doing that, don't you think?
A really talented confectioner, those are going to cost $100 a cupcake.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And they probably won't even taste good.
Yeah.
But they'll be amazingly beautiful.
I remember the one guy that was here for a long time. His mom, I think, was an incredible baker. Remember she could do that. She could do that, no problem.
Remember when those cake shows blew up?
Yeah, she was better than that.
I remember watching some of those, and I was like, how are they possibly doing that? They make the whole thing out of Rice Krispie treats because it's structurally easy to work with. And it's like, okay, it looks nice, but I want a cake.
And fondant. So much fondant.
Oh, so much fondant. And fondant's kind of disgusting.
Yeah.
Looking at you, little Debbie. The progression toward robots robots aren't going to kill us to we've armed the robots has been very short, and now we have pragmatic but terrifying new applications.
The AI machine gun of the future is already here. Yeah, this is read this article and then just don't suspend your disbelief for a little while, and then I want you to go look up the YouTube video of the guy that built the laser turret. He used like a 3 milliwatt blue laser or green laser to take out mosquitoes. And go watch the YouTube videos for that. It's a full project. You can download all the files on. And so there's this little laser turret that there's a vision system, and it tracks mosquitoes, and it blows the mosquitoes out of the air with a laser. Now imagine this with bullets. It's the ultimate bullet conservancy thing. Every bullet is going to count. It's going to be amazing.
So the idea here is anti-drone, right? Because drones have changed warfare. How do you deal with them? They're saying that this thing is going to be able to track them, and it can. They've proven it. Here's the thing, though. That is a .308 caliber rifle. Wouldn't a buckshot or even a birdshot be way better at taking out drones and way less dangerous when those bullets eventually land somewhere?
Yeah, there's a parabola there, and they're going to have just as much kinetic energy when they come down as when they went up.
So that tells me that this is not really for drones. Right?
I mean, maybe, but maybe not. It depends on the range. I mean, the range on that is what, like 2-3 miles.
They would have way more range than a shotgun for sure.
Yeah. And if the software is automatically taking it into account wind and parabola and things like that, and it can nail a drone at a mile, that would be incredible.
But what goes up?
Yeah, it must come down.
I guess you don't worry about that too much in a war zone, but still a little worrying. And these things are going up, but maybe they don't ever have to come down.
SpaceX to attempt a daring orbital refueling test of Starship. So they had already done something. They hadn't done the docking part of this, but they had done.
They had 2 tanks on the same ship.
Yeah,
and they flushed one to the other in space and didn't have any problems.
Yeah,
this is quite a bit more complicated.
Yeah, we're going to launch 2 of them. Okay,
a little spaceship lovemaking in orbit there.
That's also incredible. They're going to probably blow up the first 5 or 6, but that's fine. It's reasonable.
I mean, we got to give them a little attitude, right? Because in the past, it's worked out. And speaking of the past and things in space,
somebody's moved the UK's oldest satellite, but no one knows who or why. And this apparently happened a long, long time ago. They interviewed one of the people that worked on this, who's 80 years old, and his best guess was, well, we turned over control to the Americans, and maybe they moved it farther out so that it would be less likely to encounter other satellites or other, because we don't control it or whatever.
Not the case, though. Actually, if we did it, we put it in one of the worst places. So it's going to be a problem, and it's completely dead at this point. There's no way any of that thing's moving anywhere. This will be a good candidate for, remember Elon Musk was going to do the space janitor? This would be a good one to get. Alex Jones it's finally come to an end, I guess. I think there might be some appeals left, or he's claimed he's not going to tolerate it. I don't know what's going on here, but this headline is insane.
The AP's headline is satire publication The Onion buys Alex Jones Infowars at auction with Sandy Hook family's backing.
Why?
The interview with the Onion guy or somebody, I don't know if this is true or not, but somebody posted online, and the answer seemed to have been for the lulz.
It's interesting. It's interesting for sure. Yeah. And this is interesting because you really, you need to do your homework when you are printing packaging for your products. And you have to remember that just because you're a powerful company doesn't mean that you get every domain that you want.
Mattel apologizes after it ships wicked Barbie dolls with a link that led to an adult website. They didn't bother to check that. Oops.
Now, if you'd like to get some tickets or some info about the Wicked movie, you're going to want to go to wickedmovie.com, not wicked.com, which is what they printed on the packaging. Different content on that website. Apparently some children discovered that. But they already knew, right? We pretend that the kids don't know they know. Now, I'm right here with you in terms of this guy is too new for me to be aware of his music. So we're both completely ignorant of what this man did musically. But he's apparently beloved.
People are begging Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to appoint Pitbull to the U.S. Senate after Senator Marco Rubio named Secretary of State.
He makes music, I know that.
I read headlines like this, and I think that I really need to go back and rewatch Mike Judge's Idiocracy.
Could he do much worse?
No.
I mean,
that's really like that's the 1-2 punch of Mike Judge's Idiocracy is like, and then it's just like, oh, we're doomed.
And The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson as he is now known because he's moved above his old identity, rumored there for a while, I believe we talked about it, big fan of the piss jug. And it seems like a man who'd be worth hundreds of millions of dollars wouldn't have to resort to that, but he's admitted it.
Dwayne Johnson says controversy over set behavior is bullcrap, but admits to peeing in bottles and being late to filming. Yeah, that happens sometimes. His co-stars complained that he's up to 8 hours late. With
Gatorade bottle in hand. Actually, I'm sure an assistant probably handles that.
Yeah.
What a job. You're a big fan of Stargate. Oh, I hate these websites that you can't click away from. But this turned out to happen a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're printing it now.
Ohio family builds a 50,000-pound Stargate with a dial-home device to scan the cosmos. They made it out of concrete, and also the owner was like, "Why are you doing a story about this now? Don't come and visit this. This is not open to the public. Don't talk about it." But they really liked the Stargate movie apparently, and they did this around the time the Stargate movie was out. But now there's like 5 TV series based on the Stargate mythos. It's an interesting universe.
How faithful would you say that was?
I mean, 70%.
Not bad it was just some guy and his kids.
Yeah,
out in the yard.
Just like this would be a fun thing to do.
I mean, they had some heavy equipment. It seemed like they had some land, maybe some well-to-do people.
I like the idea. They fleshed out the idea for like why would an advanced civilization do? Oh, sorry, I hit the thing, microphone. It's like why would an advanced civilization do this, and what sort of technology did they need, and blah blah blah. And it turns out it was drone ships. Like they just built ships to just spend thousands of years traveling the cosmos and deploying Stargates to planets where it made sense. So it was just all automated robots.
Probably some sort of marketing thing.
It's just like, yeah, interstellar travel is hard. Speed of light is a huge problem. So Stargates, because it's easier to connect points in 3-dimensional space with wormholes than it is to go faster than the speed of light, which might not be untrue.
Well, you know what else is hard and a constant problem is cops just doing the baseline level of work that they need to do.
Quebec officer suspended for 15 days for throwing away a piece of the victim's skull. He just tossed it in a ravine. The victim died, and the family would have liked to have had all of the body parts in order to cremate them.
Even worse, the victim's mother, who was searching for the phone, which she thought might have been thrown from the car, found it.
Oof.
Yeah. Not fired. Suspended. And here's your reminder. You know, we say it all comes back to education. I'm never going to stop saying it. Don't talk to police. Don't do it. There's no reason to ever do it.
It is acceptable and perfectly legal, quote-unquote. Police chief defends cops on social media for getting man to confess murder that didn't happen using alleged psychological torture. We covered this story originally when it happened. It has made its way through the California court, and the court of public opinion, they're certainly not winning.
This dude had some mental issues. Turns out he didn't do it. And he was supposed to be on medication, which they wouldn't let him have for that time, the 17 hours he was in. They drove him around in their car, berating him. They did all the tricks and eventually broke him down, and he admitted to it.
Yeah, if they take away your medication, that is not cool.
I'm sure they'll be fired, right?
No.
And again, Krista abandons us when I added a fungus story just for her.
This fungus grows more vigorously when it feels good vibes. Plant-friendly soil microbes outgrew their peers when exposed to white noise in the lab.
So the fungus likes static, basically. I don't know what we're going to do with that information, but we've got it.
Well, I mean, it's true that our lymphatic system likes us to move around some, and if you just are completely sedentary, things start to go wrong.
Yeah, but mushrooms don't really have the ability to take a run.
Well, wind constantly, and
Maybe, okay. I've actually seen these, and I thought, wow, was that on purpose? Turns out probably not, but maybe.
The Midwest's viral grocery quick stop gas station chain is set to undergo a rebranding.
Approach and leave.
Yeah, approach and leave.
We can't even say it.
Nope, the algorithm.
So they were very popular just because the innuendo. But no more. They are going to merge, and they're going to be called whatever the other name is for obvious reasons.
I like approach and go. Approach and leave.
And Iran, you have to be really, really worried. I mean, you should already be worried if you're anywhere in the world at this point. We can't really judge them. We have the same things. But when they tell you that what you're doing is not wrong, it's mental problems.
Yeah.
Because that's when it gets really scary.
Iran has set up a mental health clinic to, quote unquote, treat women who refuse to wear a hijab.
This is on the heels of a young lady who was attacked by the morality police and stripped all of her clothes off And it became a very embarrassing social media thing for the powers that be. So now you just get to go to a padded room if you want to show your ankles. And dark chocolate, I love dark chocolate. And it's supposedly one of the best choices, right? If you're desperate for your sugar addiction, but apparently not.
The marketing lie Lindt chocolate just admitted to telling. 70% cocoa, no, but also 5% more cadmium and 3% more lead. Not fabulous.
But also, in the defense, the prosecutors or whoever were like, hey, you say this is like handmade artisan chocolate. And the guy was like, no, that's what's known as puffery, which is an advertising claim that's just silly and no one should take it seriously. But it's a legal term. So they're like, no, we just have machines that poop this crap out. There's nothing handmade about this. There's nothing artisan. So officially, Lindt, not excellent. Just garbage tier with heavy metals.
I'd believe it.
And I just added this one because you will eat the bugs.
First reading, Trudeau's $9 million bet on edible crickets runs into trouble. So it's like, oh, this is going to make food cheap and plentiful and solve people's financial problems. Nope.
They built this big cricket farm and subsidized the hell out of it. A lot of Canadian taxpayer dollars went into that. But oddly enough, people not hyped to eat the crickets.
That's so strange.
Who could have predicted it?
Somebody sent us crickets. Thank you if you're still watching.
I think that was Zero Straws, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think so.
Man. Okay. Zero Straws sent us some crickets, and
they were salty. I didn't like them.
Yeah, they were fabulous.
I'd like to get a big piece of steak off of this guy, though.
The U.S. has a cloned sheep contraband problem. So this was the guy, the 85-year-old that was arrested because he cloned a sheep. Well, he didn't just clone a sheep; like he went all Dr. Moreau. And this sheep is actually it's impressive. Like, I'm not even mad. This is actually pretty cool. But if this guy were Elon Musk, he would be screaming lawfare and overregulation and that sort of thing. I actually think what he did is less bad than what the federal government did to the guy that had Peanut the squirrel.
For sure, but this could be a problem. Now, the bigger problem is they've got this one, but this guy was doing a little horse trading with his cloned sheep. And some of the sperm and maybe they might have impregnated some other sheep. So
turns out they're effective sheep.
They're other sheep that will outcompete all the other sheep. And they're out there in the world, and we don't have the other ones. There may be as many as like 12 to 20 of these things out there.
So I got my bingo scorecard here, and it's like, this is okay for mosquitoes, not okay for sheep. I mean, we're genetically altering mosquitoes.
It's two different directions, though, right? We're taking the mosquitoes, making them less effective at survival, and we're taking the sheep and making them just gods. So this one didn't turn out to be as exciting as I hoped it would.
Only in Australia, a couple comes home to find a koala in bed. It wasn't even an ill-tempered koala. It was just confused.
If they don't name that koala Goldilocks, then somebody's doing something wrong. And here's a great article. We talk about the whales, the octopus, and the elephants. They're smarter than we think they are. And maybe we should treat them a little different. Perhaps, now that we know that, imprisoning them is not something we should be doing.
The elephant learned to use a hose as a shower. Then her rival sought revenge because, pranking.
So, this elephant is old, not as capable of hosing itself off with the trunk. So it figured out that it could pick up the hose and wash itself. And they very carefully studied it, and they're like, yes, this is tool usage. This is amazing. But then there was another elephant that got bullied by this one who learned to kink the hose. They're like us. Awful.
I like there's some videos of an elephant that paints on YouTube. That's somehow oddly relaxing.
I would watch that.
Yeah.
For sure. And finally, an animal story that's not an animal story.
Bear that attacked luxury car was actually a man in a costume, insurance investigators say. I thought it was more than one. This was like wealthy people or people that bought a very expensive luxury car, and they damaged it by a bear with a bear costume to try to get an insurance payout.
Yeah.
And
very luxury cars. A Rolls Royce, what was it, a Phantom, I think? And Mercedes AMGs. And it was all insurance fraud. 140 grand worth of insurance fraud.
They're going to jail.
Like, do you think they just wanted their cars reupholstered or something?
I think that probably the nouveau wealthy were hit a little hard by the downturn and things. Maybe their portfolio wasn't diversified, or they bought crypto at the wrong time, and they just needed a little something to get them by.
Well, it didn't work. It was a well laid out plan, but I think they also got too greedy. 3 cars. In the video, there was surveillance. It was clear surveillance video, and they had the insurance company was like, "Does this look like a bear to you?" And they're like, "No, this doesn't look like a bear at all." Can you imagine being that adjuster who went to look at that video? Wait a minute.
This is just straight up insurance fraud. I guess they figured it's like, oh, nobody ever looks at wealthy people for insurance fraud, but they weren't wealthy enough.
That was their crime.
Yeah.
Elon Musk get away with this all day long.
Why wouldn't they just sell a luxury car? It's like, oh, we're on hard times. Well, just, sell your Rolls Royce. I'm sure somebody wants to buy it.
Also, I would assume most people that have those cars are self-insured, right?
Yeah, they could, yeah. Interesting. Well, you've wasted another perfectly good week, but thanks for hanging out.